Welcome back to Stationeers and welcome back to the moon. In the last episode we improved our power situation with a bunch of new solar panels and a new battery. The whole purpose of that is to enable us to automate mining. The minimum setup to automate mining is going to require a deep miner and a centrifuge. The deep miner produces a dirty ore mix, so we have to centrifuge that to get the ores out of it in order to smelt them. In order to produce a deep miner, we're going to have to apply a mod to the autolathe to upgrade it. And to do that, we first have to apply a mod to the electronics printer because it can only make its own mod until it gets upgraded. So let's start with an electronic printer mod. And while that gets built, I'm going to use the autolathe to produce the centrifuge, which does not need an upgrade. Meanwhile, I need to plan where I'm going to put this. And my thinking is that I want to build a basement where I'm going to put the miner and some of this ore producing infrastructure. So I'm going to do some digging and we'll get back to this once that's all dug out. Okay, day 23 and the mod for the electronics printer is ready. So I'm going to grab my screwdriver and install it on the machine. There we go, upgraded electronics printer. Now with this one, I can create the mods for all the other machines. So the one I need right now is the autolathe printer. And that will get made. Meanwhile, centrifuge is ready as well, so that can go downstairs. But I'm also going to make some more steel frames since I used up the remainder that I had to start building the basement. Okay, let's go take a look downstairs. So I emptied out a sizable cavern right under the industrial hall. And the idea is I'm gonna place the auto miner out here outside the base footprint, and it'll eventually dig a hole all the way to the mantle. And inside what the footprint of the base would be, I'm gonna set up the centrifuge. I believe I'm gonna need 2 centrifuges to process at the speed that one miner produces, but we'll start with one and see how we need to upgrade from there. Okay, now the centrifuge requires steel sheets, so I saved a few of them. Wrench first, then the welding torch with 2 more, and there's the centrifuge. Of course, we need to run some power, so for that I'm gonna need to make more cable coils, but that'll be after the electronics printer finishes with the mod for the autolathe. Which it just did. So let's get some cable coils made. We're gonna want a lot of those. So the mod for the autolathe, same install process as the one for the electronics printer. What did I do with my screwdriver? Okay, did I drop that somewhere? Let's see if the toolmaker can make me a new one. Yeah, I don't know what I did with it, but I'm just gonna make a new one. Okay, So same deal, screwdriver plus mod upgrades the machine. And now we can make an auto miner. No, it's called a deep miner. Okay, it's gonna need more steel, some electrum, some invar, and constantan. So here's some constantan. I cut a little bit of the electrum. Okay, put the rest of the electrum back. And what else are we missing? Invar and steel. Okay. Got the invar. And some steel. Okay, deep miner is being made. Meanwhile, look at this beautiful pile of cables. I think that should be enough, so I'll turn off the electronics printer. Yeah, I need to get around to setting up the stacker for this machine as well, since we repurposed its stacker as a ingot cutter. Feels really good when the resources stop being quite so tight. You can make lots and lots of something. The power for the bottom floor is going to come from this battery. So this cable here that's feeding the computer can also be what will connect downstairs. And I want to take apart this frame. Oh, I forgot my tank of propellant on the refill station. As you can imagine, mining out the basement took quite a bit of the gas from the pneumatic drill. Yeah, and at some point I may want to automate this, so I'm gonna connect its data port as well. Let's see if the Deep miner is ready. Oh, looks like we ran out of power again. I'm gonna need to splice the old base battery into the new system. Where is my coal? There's my coal. Get that in place before the plants overheat. Okay, unfortunately that means I have to start over on making the deep miner. While that happens, I'm gonna make some heavy cables, since that'll be what I need in order to connect the new solars to the old battery. Let's think on how this setup is gonna go. Well, I do have this high power cable here coming from the old solar. So I'll tap into it. Head over towards where the drop down from the new solars is coming in. Okay, over here we have the high power cable coming down from the solars. This one we are gonna route around like that along what will be future walls. Okay, looks like I lined up those cables right. Come on, align with that cable. There we go. Oh, wrong orientation there. Okay, so now when the sun comes up, these solars are going to be feeding into this battery as well, helping keep both of them topped up. Conversely, the coal generator is also going to feed both batteries. And there's the deep miner. I'll leave the autolathe to make more steel sheets, because those are always needed. Okay, down we go to set this thing up. Placement requires terrain below. Okay, so it comes with its own frame base, basically. I don't need to provide my own frames here. Okay, I'm going to take that apart then. And I'm trying to see which way the chutes are pointing on this. Cables seem to be pointing out this side. Oh, there's the chute as well. Okay, so if I point it like this, it's gonna be easier to connect into the base. What does this want? It wants welding torch and 12 steel sheets. Good thing I started making those. Okay, then we need screwdriver and 5 cable coils. And electronic parts. Okay, I don't have any electronic parts, so that's another thing to make. Electronic parts, they go on the electronics printer. We need to add some gold. Okay, gold is in, and we'll make some electronic parts. And another thing I want is a large battery so that I can just swap between 2 large batteries in my suit, rather than swapping with a small one that's sitting in the APC right now. I'm gonna get that made. Okay, now this APC will have a large battery that will get charged and be ready for swapping with the suit. This extra battery, I can put it in this labeler that I created a while ago. Oh, it's not taking up space. Let's go down and see about finishing this deep miner. Oh, it needs 4 electronic parts. Okay, we'll make 3 more. There it is, the deep miner in all its glory. Let's get that cabled up. And there's the switch right here next to the drill head, and off it goes. Now, while that starts mining, I need to make some chutes and connect it up to the centrifuge. For this, I'm just gonna need some basic chutes, but I do need to put more iron in there. Okay, that should be enough chutes for what we're doing here. So I want to bring the output of the miner to the input of the centrifuge. You know what? A window chute would be nice here. See the ores going in there. We'll do regular ones for the rest. There is the deep miner digging. First it needs to dig all the way down to the mantle, and then we'll start producing ores. So I'm not gonna start the centrifuge just yet. I want the miner to start outputting ores. And while we wait for that, let's pop inside and take care of drinking, eating, all of those necessities of life. A large battery on the APC has charged, so I'm gonna swap that out, having things a little bit more convenient. Okay, back outside, I'm gonna top up my air tank, and we are gonna go check on the miner, see if it's produced anything yet. There we go, there's 11 dirty ore. So, time to turn on the centrifuge. Now that the centrifuge is up and running, that also enables me to use a recycler. So, I'm gonna make one of those, along with more chutes to connect everything. And since I'm quite sure that the mining setup produces enough ore for more than one centrifuge, I'm gonna create a second centrifuge so they can keep up. Okay, the recycler can be set up here and doesn't require any extra parts to build, and it needs to be wired up. I don't foresee automating the recycler for a long time, so I'm just gonna wire its power. The second centrifuge is gonna be next to the first one, with a little space in between so that I have room for the inlet and outlet chutes. Okay, the recycler is connected, and here's what it does. You can stick items on the left side, items you want to destroy, like these spent nitrogen and carbon dioxide filters. And after it grinds them up, it's gonna spit out a reagent mix on the right side. Now, this reagent mix needs to go in the centrifuge, it's gonna get separated back into its components. So to do that, I'm gonna splice into the chutes connecting to the input of the centrifuge, and I'm gonna add an inlet. And that's a little bit too far back. Then below it, I'm gonna add a junction. Now, I'm gonna be able to pick up the reagent mix and toss it into the inlet for it to be processed by the centrifuge. As you can see, the materials from the miner are already starting to back up a little bit. So, let's connect the second centrifuge. First up, some wiring. Okay, it's got power. Now it needs items arriving at its input. So the way I'm gonna go about that is I will go over the top of the first centrifuge. Here I'd like a couple of windows so I can see when items are waiting. And I need to grab some more chutes from up top. Now that we're ready to connect the two branches, I'm gonna disassemble this chute and I'm gonna replace it with a flip-flop splitter. The flip-flop splitter takes its input and sends one out one output, then the next out the other output, and then back to the first, alternating between the two outputs. So it's gonna split the incoming nuggets of material 50-50 to the two centrifuges. Now I can toss these in, and they should go to the second centrifuge. Looks like the backlog on the first centrifuge is keeping things a little bit stopped up there. There, that one went to the second. And I'm gonna rebuild the windowed chute here. And toss these back in. To the front, the arrow on the side of the flip-flop splitter indicates where the next item is going to go. So the miner sent one through right as I was talking, and then this one I'm adding is going to go to the centrifuge. Of course, I need to turn the centrifuge on so it can do its thing. And I'm going to add a few more frames since this basement is growing. The way the centrifuges work is when you start them out, they start at low RPM and slowly ramp up to 100 RPM. And the faster they spin, the faster they process things. They will process one dirty ore or reagent mix at a time and put whatever it gets out of it into its own internal inventory. As you can see, this one has 1 gram of silicon and just processed 1 gram of iron. So it takes quite a while for it to produce materials, but it's going to be mostly hands-off. The first centrifuge that's been running for a while has already been at 100 RPM and has a bunch of reagents: iron, gold, copper, hydrocarbon, silicon. One thing to note is these don't produce any ices. So for now, I'm still going to need to mine the ices by hand, but not having to worry about some of the other materials is quite helpful. You know, in order to get things out of a centrifuge, it has to be stopped. If you pull the lever while it's running, it's going to give an error. Basically, it says that the centrifuge must stop before it can export. Once you pull the ejection lever, it will also start slowing down. So the RPM is going down, and when that reaches 0, it'll output all the items it has processed. Ideally, you want to only do this when the centrifuge is full, which that is 400 grams of materials that it can hold. And now that it's stopped, it's going to spit out everything that was inside it. And once it's empty, I can close the lever and it's going to start spinning back up to process some more. So that's how centrifuges work. Right as I was editing this episode, Discord lit up with news from the official Stationeers server. The terrain update is live. Yes, the update we've been waiting for is finally here, not just in beta, but fully released with all the planets. That means this series on the moon comes to a close. It's time to move on and build somewhere new on freshly remade landscapes. By the time you're watching this, a poll will be up on the channel. You get to help decide where my lander goes next. Gentle Mars, Frosty Europa, Crushing Venus, or the Scorching Crags of Vulcan. The link to the poll is in the description, and it will run for a few days, likely through Friday, September 19th, 2025. From the moon, thank you for watching, and Aleki signing off.